bansa, maraming mga kabataan ang may mga pangarap sa kanilang buhay. Pero, nang dahil sa ipinagbabawal na gamot, ang mga pangarap ng ating mga kabataan na gusto nilang makamit ay naglaho at nagdudulot pa ito ng iba't ibang problema sa kanilang buhay.
Maraming dahilan kung bakit nalululong ang mga kabataan sa masasamang bisyo at ang pangunahing dahilan nito ay kahirapan. Kaya kabataan, droga ay iwasan upang gumanda ang kinabukasan. Iwasan ng droga upang malayo sa disgrasya. Droga ay iwasan, isalba ang kinabukasan, kabutihay makakamtan kung droga ay iiwasan.
Napag-usapan sa FDS noong Agosto 2021 ang kahalagahan sa pag-iwas sa ipinagbabawal na gamot dahil sa pinsalang na idulot nito sa ating katawan, isipan at komunidad. Nalaman din natin ang ilan sa mga halimbawa nito tulad ng shabu at cocaine. Gayon na rin ang iba pang mga pagpapaliwanag tungkol sa Batas Republika 9165.
Bilang pagdiriwang ng Drug Abuse Prevention and Control Week tuwing Nobyembre, sama-sama nating alamin ang iba't ibang institusyon sa ilalim ng YAKAP BAYAN program ng DSWD na nagbibigay programa at serbisyo o aftercare sa mga biktima ng droga na dumaan na sa gamutan. Kaya mga ka-4Ps, kunin ang inyong mga tala-arawan at isulat ang mga mahalagang natutunan sa sesyong ito.
Ang FDS na ito ay isang partnership sa pagitan ng DSWD, Palawan Adventist Mission at Hope Channel Philippines. At bago po ang lahat, magandang araw po sa ating mga nanay na nanood ngayon, lalong-lalo na sa mga beneficiary natin sa Aborlan, Nara, Quezon, Rizal, Batarasa, Balabac at Brooks Point at Española. Binabati ko din po ang aking mga kamag-anak kakilala sa Busuanga, yung aming mahal na Mayor, Mayor Beth Cervantes, sa Kulyon po si Mayor De Vera at sa Coron si Mayor Marjo Reyes.
Mayan na timprano ka natang tanang manunood adi sa parting norte ang Palawan, Araceli, Dumaran, Rojas, San Vicente, Il Nido at lalong-lalo na po sa bayan ng Taytay.
Isang malusog na araw din sa mga island municipalities tulad ng Linapakan, Coron, Culyon, Busuanga, Cuyo, Agutaya, Magsaysay at Cagayan Silio. Binabati ko rin po ang aking mga kamag-anak sa bayan ng Taytay.
Good afternoon. I am Kevin Bumagat. I am currently working with the Social Technology Bureau, the department's program development arm. No? If you are familiar, alam ko naman most of us are actually familiar with the different programs and services ng department. Kami po ang nagde-develop ng mga ito. Like for example, we have the 4Ps which has been institutionalized, no? The SOP, supplemental feeding. Yung mga programa pong iyan ay ginawa po namin sa Social Technology Bureau. And allow me first to thank everyone, no? Despite of the spike of COVID-19, you are with us this afternoon, no? To learn about the premier program of the DSWD, which is the YAKAP BAYAN program. Like what Miss Anggis is always saying, let us make this as your safe space, no? If I may borrow her words, let us make this as a double barrel approach. You will be learning from me as your resource person, and at the same time, I will be learning from you as the participants. Ayan, kasi alam ko po kayo po ay mga experts, no, sa field. And ayan. So napakaganda ho ng mga sharings po natin kanina, but I wanted to make it clear, no, before I commence with my discussion. The Philippine Anti-Drug Strategy serves as the framework of the Philippine government, no, na tinutungtungan po ng lahat ng instrumentalities ng Philippine government in implementing their programs. Lahat po ng programa patungkol po sa droga ay nakatungtong not only in RA 9165, which is the Dangerous Drugs Act, but also to the Philippine Anti-Drug Strategy, for us to achieve a drug-free Philippines. When you look at the statistics, no, napakalaki ang drug affectation pagdating po sa mga kabataan. Parang bakit kulang yung ating mga mekanismo, no, to resolve issues when it comes on drug abuse, especially in the level of the communities. Alam naman po natin, no, that 90% of those who surrendered, hindi otomatiko na sila po ay papasok sa isang facility. Yun po yung maling idea o kaisipan na gusto ho nating i-correct. Most or 90% of those who have surrendered are actually endorsed to the community for a community-based rehabilitation. So ang YAKAP Bayan program po is a community-based, no, aftercare and reintegration program. The YAKAP Bayan program has been recognized as a model, no, a standard model by the DDB, and we are looking forward that this will be implemented by LGUs, no, across the Philippines as their guide in providing aftercare and reintegration, or to facilitate the reintegration of our recovering persons who use drugs. Well, through this training of trainers, no, we are actually hitting two birds with one stone. Why is that, no? Unang-una po, we envision, because of the training of trainers, we envision to have you as the PSWDOs to be our co-providers of technical assistance and resource augmentation. Because it is expected that once you complete the TOT, no, kayo po ay magbibigay ng technical assistance to your lower counterparts, which are the municipalities or the cities as deemed applicable, no, in the implementation of YAKAP Bayan program. And at the same time, we wanted to promote, no, ito pong YAKAP Bayan program for the replication ng inyong mga local government units. All right. So with that, I will be sharing my screen with you as I will be commencing with the module number 1. So this afternoon, I will be introducing to you the YAKAP Bayan program, no, as a premier program or priority program of the DSWD, no, in consonance with the campaign of the national government to achieve a drug-free Philippines. So, what are the objectives of the session this afternoon? First, to discuss the drug abuse and drug addiction situation at the global and national context. Second is to explain the Philippine anti-drug strategy as the strategy of the Philippine government responding to problems of drug abuse and addiction in the country. Third will be describe YAKAP Bayan program as holistic intervention to assist persons who use drugs, no, at the local government level. So sa level po ninyo. Fourth is to identify stakeholders, o yung mga tinatawag po nating key players in the implementation of the YAKAP Bayan. And lastly is to locate the role of the local government units in achieving the program outcomes of YAKAP Bayan. So basically, the first and second objective of this module has been dealt, no, doon po sa ating sharing. Napaka-enriching ng sharing po natin. So we will be focusing on the last 3 objectives for this module. But before that, I wanted to gauge, no, yung inyong pong understanding pag sinasabi po nating YAKAP Bayan. I know this is not the first time na naririnig po ninyo ang YAKAP Bayan. I believe yung atin pong mga DSWD social workers or field office staff ay nababanggit po itong YAKAP Bayan na ito. Meron tayong Slido quiz, no, to gauge kung ano ho yung level ng understanding natin pagdating po sa programa. All right, so let's proceed now with our lecture, no, with YAKAP Bayan program. Well, the YAKAP Bayan program, no, envisions to transform surrenderers into community leaders. Ayan po ang vision ng YAKAP Bayan program. And through the YAKAP Bayan, with this vision, no, yung ating pong YAKAP Bayan framework was actually developed. It was developed through the leadership of our Assistant Secretary, Jose Antonio R. Hernandez. And there is a video prepared for you, no, that tackles more about the successful implementation of the YAKAP Bayan framework. Ito po yung ating naging basis, no, sa pagde-develop ng YAKAP Bayan program. And when we say framework, this is very important, no, for program developers because it serves as the backbone ng isang programa.
For a better and brighter future for the next generation. A comfortable, peaceful, and just society. That's the state of the country that Mayor Rodrigo Roa Duterte envisioned. Due to the rampant drugs, crime, and corruption that beset the country, their eradication from the society became his battle cry during his campaign for presidency. True to his words, President Duterte launched a massive campaign against illegal drugs upon assumption of office, which started with Oplan Tokhang that yielded 1.3 million surrenderers. Under the administration, we go beyond mere making them surrender. We recognize that surrenderers are part of families too. They're all part of a much larger whole, the Filipino society. To defeat the drug menace, the government readily welcomes people who turn their backs against drugs and help them undergo rehabilitation and reintegration. After rehabilitation for recovering drug personalities or RDPs to return to their families and communities as better and productive citizens, we aim to transform them from liabilities into assets, from surrenderers into leaders, through series of capacity building activities and community service in line with disaster preparedness and response. This journey to recovery will be monitored through case management. This is the YAKAP Bayan framework of intervention. We can achieve recovery by keeping in mind the direction and trajectory, weaving together the readily available resources, not just of DSWD, in order to provide medical, psychosocial, occupational, and spiritual support to those undergoing rehabilitation and reintegration and their families. And by integrating local culture into the solution, we can be assured that the interventions are appropriate to the clients. The following serve as the framework's legal basis. Currently, several local governments at the provincial, city, and municipal level follow YAKAP Bayan. These localities have already created force multipliers for emergencies out of their constituent RDPs during and after rehabilitation. Just recently, the Social Technology Bureau completed the first phase of model building, which is process documentation. Teams were deployed to the 6 study sites to harness the good practices being done. The result of model building will then be promoted to be institutionalized for the implementation of the YAKAP Bayan framework at the local government through a Dangerous Drugs Board resolution. This effort is part of the department's role in developing social technologies, providing technical assistance and resource augmentation or TARA, and setting standards and monitoring compliance to social service providers. By building a strong network of support for the recovering drug personalities, together with their families and communities, we can transform surrenderers into leaders that we can work hand in hand with in keeping our country comfortable, peaceful, and just. That is what the YAKAP Bayan framework aims to do.
Like what I have said a while ago, no? Hinalaw po namin yung mga good practices ng mga different LGUs na nag-implement ng YAKAP Bayan framework. And we have seen different peculiarities or uniqueness in their implementation of the framework. So we have subjected 6 local government units as our study sites, no, who served as our inspiration sites in crafting the program. We have documented the good practices of Santo La Union in Region 1, no? And ang nakita po nating peculiarity, no, sa Santo La Union, talagang niyakap po nila ang mga surrenderers. Because in 2016, nung nag-Oplan Tokhang po, even the cultivators of marijuana surrendered. So through the MSWDO or through the ADAC of the Santol La Union, no, yinakap po nila, no, yung ating mga users at yung ating mga marijuana cultivators. And of course, dito ho sa province of Ifugao, no, nakita ho natin yung peculiarity na ang provincial government is actually the trailblazer, no? Sila po ang nanguna sa implementation ng program through the PSWDO. While in San Diego-Lian, Batangas, they catered not only, no, to drug users, but also they catered to drug users who were former rebel returnees, no? While in Lukban, Quezon, nakita ho natin yung intensive partnership ng ADAC po nila sa mga faith-based organizations who provided spiritual sessions doon ho sa mga kliyente. While in Iloilo, no, nandito ho yung mga taga-field office natin from Region 6, no? In Iloilo, we have seen the importance of the technical assistance and resource augmentation, no, given by a national government agency to the localities, no, which is Iloilo City, no. And lastly, in Davao City, ang nakita naman po nating peculiarity dito is the intensive partnership na sinasabi po natin between national government agency, between stakeholders, no, yung mga academies po in the area, and faith-based organizations. And the study or the process documentation concluded, no, na ang mga ito daw ay elemento ng having an effective drug recovery program. What are this, no? Masasabi ho natin na effective yung drug recovery program if we have a whole of LGU approach. If we have a functional ADAC, if we have a creation of TWG or Technical Working Group, multidisciplinary team, including LDRRM office, TARA to LGUs, and of course, partnerships. Whole of LGU approach, no? Nabanggit po kanina sa sharing, narinig ko po that dapat ang pagtingin po natin sa LGU ay hindi lang health aspect. At lahat po tayo, no, sa local government units, especially the frontline offices in the LGU, has something to do, no, to contribute to the recovery of the recovering persons who use drugs, no. Sabi nga po ng aking isang kaibigan sa department, no, she always say, it takes a village to raise a child, but it takes a whole of LGU, no? Whole of the LGU to actually respond to the needs of recovering persons who use drugs. Dapat functional yung ADAC from the province, municipal, and of course, down to the barangay as the implementers of programs in the grassroots. And of course, multidisciplinary, no? Having said that it should be an LGU, whole of LGU approach, dapat multidisciplinary din. Dapat yung pagtingin ng droga hindi lamang po sa aspeto ng health, but also it has psychosocial impacts. Tama po yung sinabi ni Ma'am kanina dun sa sharing. At meron ho dito na emphasize yung role ng LDRRM because when you speak about YAKAP Bayan program, no, we mobilize yung atin pong mga clients or YAKAP Bayan beneficiaries as prospective volunteers to the different projects, programs na meron po ang LDRRM sa local government units. TARA is very important, no? Dapat nagtutulungan, hindi lang po ito whole of nation, but hindi lang po ito whole of LGU, but whole of nation approach. And napaka-importante po yung partnerships po natin. Hindi ho lahat ay kayang sagutin ng LGU, tama po ba? Kasi I often hear some LGU stakeholders na kulang ang pondo. That's why in YAKAP Bayan program at sinasabi po ng process documentation po natin, we should establish partnerships. Partnerships with whom? No? With civil society organizations, faith-based organization, at nandyan po yung ating law enforcement. Okay? So ano po ang YAKAP Bayan program? When we speak about YAKAP Bayan program, no, this is actually a program for persons who use drugs, who have completed primary treatment. When we say primary treatment, what does it mean? No? Ito po yung 6 months na sinasabi ng batas. Sila po ay dapat nakapag-undergo ng 6 months treatment. Either yan po ay sa community or community-based, yan po ay outpatient, or yan po ay in-facility. No? Sila po ay i-accommodate po natin sa YAKAP Bayan program. And regardless of the program is very inclusive because sinasabi po dito, regardless of their age, sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity, and expression. So who are the target beneficiaries of YAKAP Bayan? Through DDB Regulation number 6 and number 7, no? Ito po yung mga different clientele groups, no, ng YAKAP Bayan program. Unang-una po diyan yung mga children who use drugs or seawoods. Nabanggit po kanina sa sharing, no, malaki po yung drug affectation pagdating po sa mga kabataan. At nakakalungkot because as we do the process documentation, meron pong below 18, no, na mga gumagamit ng ipinagbabawal na gamot. And we call them as children who use drugs. And sila po ay ina-accommodate po natin sa YB. We also accommodate the surrenderers, no, whether they are voluntary or compulsory admitted into treatment and graduated to the treatment. We also cater to the clients who are under plea bargaining or meron pong court-mandated cases, no? And we also accommodate to the families and to the communities of the RP Woods. When we say families and communities, these are actually the indirect, no, the indirect beneficiaries of the program. Okay, the YAKAP Bayan program will be implemented by LGU ADACs, no, through a multidisciplinary team. Paulit-ulit po ito, yung sinabi po natin kanina na dapat ang pagtingin sa usapin ng droga ay dapat multifaceted with dedicated social workers, no, who will serve as case managers of the RP Woods. Importante po yung atin pong papel ng mga social workers o mga manggagawang panlipunan. Kasi pag sa usapin po ng drugs, no, like what I have said a while ago, hindi lang po ito health issue. Ito po ay may kaakibat na psychosocial na issue or na aspeto na ina-address sino? Ina-address po natin as social workers because we as social workers are the ones who are experts pagdating po sa relationships. Di ho ba? Ayan. And YAKAP Bayan entails provision of aftercare services, being recognized as an aftercare and reintegration program model. What are these aftercare services? Okay, these are the menu of aftercare services. Meron pong counseling, health and fitness therapy, spiritual interventions, skills training, and of course, capacity building or mga seminars. We will enhance, no, the capacities of the RP Woods, not only them, but with their families, and of course, with the community where they reside. Like what I have said a while ago, families and communities are engaged, no? Ito po yung distinct feature ng programa because the families and communities will serve, no, as the co-journeyers, no, of the clients towards recovery. We will be engaging the family members and the communities in family restoration sessions, community reconciliation sessions, and in reintegration planning with the RP Woods. This is very important, no? Kasi dapat hindi lang ho client-centered. Kasama po dapat yung mga iba't ibang key players, no, of the RP Woods sa kanyang environment. Essentially, yung kanya pong family, specifically yung kanya pong family and community. YAKAP Bayan waives existing resources of the LGU, NGAs, and CSOs by adopting whole of nation and of course, whole of LGU approaches. What are the different objectives of the YAKAP Bayan program? This is very social work, no? Recovering YAKAP Bayan clients will have, no, improve social functioning and integrated successfully to their families and communities. Yan po yung general objective ng program. We can achieve this by, one, to provide the LGUs with adequate programs, transition for reintegration of clients, enhance, no, the coping mechanisms of YB clients with the demands of their dynamic environment. Kaya dapat pagkatapos po nilang mag-undergo ng treatment, sila po ay equipped with the right knowledge, skills, no, na napaka-importante so that they will be able to cope with the demands ng kanila pong environment or ng society or ng lipunan pagkatapos po nilang mag-undergo ng treatment. And of course, like what I have said a while ago, the communities and the families of the RP Woods are engaged, no? We will enhance the knowledge, attitudes of their families as well, and the communities, we will enable them, no, to provide an enabling environment for the client's transformation. The families, again, I underscore, the families and the communities will serve as the co-journeyers of the RP Woods towards recovery. So in your screen is the continuum of care, the phases of recovery. Well, it starts with the treatment, no? Sinasabi po ng batas, sa treatment, ito po ay 6 months. And when we say 6 months, depende po yan sa severity level, no, na ginagawa po ng doctors. Either si client po will undergo an outpatient, will undergo an inpatient, o yung mga nasa TRC, no, for public, or yung mga nasa drug rehab managed by private institutions. And of course, 90% of surrenders goes to yung sinasabi po nating community base. Sila po ay nagti-treatment sa community, no? And after the 6 months, sila po ay mag-undergo ng aftercare. Ang aftercare po, ang leader po dito will be yung atin pong mga LSWDOs in the local level. Like what I have said kanina, we are experts, no, in providing interventions pagdating po sa family restoration, pagdating po sa relationships, no, between RP Woods and their families. But as soon as the client will undergo into treatment, we already provide services to the families and to the communities that will gear later on to the end vision of the program, no, to provide or to facilitate a successful social reintegration. This one is the framework of the program. Ano ho yung napapansin po natin? Anyone? Dito ho sa atin pong framework. Ayan. Ano ho yung nakikita ho natin? Well, this framework is actually the person in environment framework. Alam na alam po natin yan, no? The RP Wood is in the center who receives, no? Who receives interventions, but we actually provide interventions to the dimensions, no? To the different dimensions that affects the client. Sino po itong mga ito? The family, their community, and lastly, yung mga institutions. Sino po itong mga institutions na ito? Primarily, sila po yung mga ADACs po natin. And it says in here that social reintegration of RP Woods is the main mission of the program. No? And in order to facilitate, we give interventions not only to the RP Woods as the center of the helping process, but we also consider, their family, the community, and the duty bearers who are the members of the ADAC. And when we speak about social reintegration, sinasabi po ng mga literatures, both in international and local literatures, that social reintegration is wider than the traditional treatment, which focuses on pharmacological and psychosocial outcomes. But the European Monitoring Center for Drugs and Drug Addiction defines social reintegration as intervention, with the aim of integrating former or current problem drug users into the community. Pero sinasabi po natin, based from the literatures, na hindi lamang po livelihood ang importante, kasi most of us tells na may trabaho, okay na, fully reintegrated na si clients. But the literature says that the non-work related spheres of life are also important in facilitating social reintegration. What are these non-related spheres of life? Unang-una po dyan, dapat si RP Wood ay meron pong supportive network. Alam po niya kung sino po ang kanyang lalapitan in times of relapse. We will be talking relapse on the succeeding sessions. Meron daw dapat siyang relationship with significant others. Dapat maayos ang kanyang ugnayan sa kanyang pamilya. At kung wala naman po siyang pamilya, maayos ang ugnayan niya sa ibang tao at sa community. And lastly, dapat siya po ay merong ability to lead a life which is actually free from stigma and discrimination. Dapat meron siyang ganong self-mastery. And actually made a consultation with different stakeholders, and it was concluded from that activity that social reintegration is a process and the goal. And social integration was defined as a dynamic process as the RP would experience some changes or progress as they continue to interact with their immediate environment. Ito po ang theory of change na tinatawag po natin. This is actually a story, istorya ng pagbabago. Let's go to the bottom, Let's start with the bottom. Sinasabi po dito that if you have an adequate, simple lang po, Sinasabi if you have an adequate family support, adequate yung kanyang community support, at maganda ang institutional support na nakukuha ng RP Wood, this will actually lead to a strengthened character sa mga RP Woods po natin. They will become socially responsible, productive, and able to perform social roles. It will also result to reduce stigma and discrimination that will give a high sense of belonging among the RP Woods. And if we have reached this, it will contribute to the greater vision of a successful reintegration of the RP Wood to the community. I repeat, kung meron pong adequate family support, community support, and institutional support, may i-strengthen yung character ng RP Wood at mare-reduce yung stigma and discrimination. They will feel a high sense of belonging that will contribute to the vision of the program of socially reintegrated or successful reintegration of the clients into the community. So what are the different program components of YAKAP Bayan? Unang-una po dyan is LGU mechanisms for social reintegration. Like what I have said a while ago, doon sa person in environment, we will also provide interventions to the LGU or to the duty bearers through the ADACs. So we will be capacitating yung ating po mga members of ADACs. And of course, one of the program components of the program focuses on the RP Wood himself or herself, as the RP Wood will have a self-management or mastery. We will also provide family strengthening services and community support services to the RP Woods. So let's go one by one. Let's go over each component. Under component number 1, no, what are the different activities that we need to undertake? Gaya po ng sinabi natin kanina that successful ang recovery program kung meron ho tayong multidisciplinary team. So we will be forming MDTs. No? The formation of MDTs will not stop there. Of course, we will capacitate yung atin pong mga MDTs. We will be training them. And in the national level, we are in close coordination with the Office of Undersecretary Echeverry, no, of the DILG, na sinasabi po niya dapat kasama ang DILG, no, sa pagte-train ng ating mga ADACs and MDTs. And of course, one of the activities under the component number 1 is the implementation of case management. Sino po ang magka-case management? Pagdating po sa aftercare, no, ang social workers. And of course, we will also do conduct of case conferences and supervisory sessions. Implementation of M&E sessions with clients and families will also be conducted. At napaka-importante po yung sinasabi po nating debriefing or reflection sessions with the MDT. Ito po yung clamor ng ating mga direct service workers, no? Palagi ho nilang sinasabi. Kasi tayo po ay tao lamang, no? Social workers are actually individuals, no? We are humans, kaya kailangan po natin ng mga debriefing sessions or yung sinasabi po nating caring for carers. Under component number 2, what are the different activities, no? Under component number 2, of course, aftercare planning and risk assessment, no? Sa case management po ng social workers, palagi ho nating sinasabi, it should always be with the client himself. The client, no, the primary beneficiary of the program will be involved, no, in the planning and risk assessment. We will be giving aftercare interventions. Nasabi po natin kanina, what are the different menu of services na meron sa aftercare. Monitoring schemes will also be implemented under component number 2. Peer support groups formation. This is very important, no? Kasi sa addiction world po, sinasabi po nila that relapse, alam po natin yung relapse, no? Yung pagtikim ulit ng ipinagbabawal na gamot ng RP Wood. Hindi ho yun, that's an instance that is actually normal, no? Pag nag-relapse po ang isang kliyente, hindi ho nag-fail yung ating intervention because the possibility of relapse is actually natural. Natural lang in the recovery journey. Yan po ang sinasabi ng ating mga drug addiction experts. But through the YAKAP BAYAN program, we will prevent the occurrence of relapse. In what way, no? Through formation of support groups in the community. Because napaka-importante po, it's therapeutic, no? If you are in a recovery, you are surrounded, no, with people in the same journey. So we will be forming peer support groups, no, in the community. Well, sa paglilibot po namin, when we had the documentation, meron ho kaming mga clients, no, na na-interview na sinasabi nila na 2 years, no, 3 years na silang sober, hindi sila nagre-relapse. 4 years na silang last na gumamit, but they still attend, no, peer support group sessions, no, for them to be able to be reminded, no, that they are in the process of recovery. Like what I have said kanina, ang recovery process po is a continuous process. It's a continuum of care. So the possibility of relapse, no, is there. Kaya importante po yung peer support groups for them to be reminded that they are in the process of recovery. And napaka-distinct po sa YAKAP BAYAN program ng volunteerism and leadership development. Kung mapapansin niyo po from the previous slide, I have mentioned about the LDRRMO office, no? Because through the YAKAP BAYAN program, we will make use of we will mobilize, no, our RP Woods to be engaged, no, in different community services through the different programs ng ating LDRRMO. Pag may bumagyo, no, nandyan yung mga RP Woods natin ready to rescue, no. And if I may relate my personal experience in Iloilo, nagkaroon po na ng earthquake. So kami pong mga nag-i-interview ng mga clients when we are interviewing the good practices of Iloilo City, no, lumindol po, medyo malakas yung lindol, no? And we are in the penthouse ng City Hall. And I am really astonished. Ako po ay talagang nagulat kasi kami po ay nagpapanik. Pero sabi po nung isang RP Wood, "Sir, wag po kayong magpanik, no? Tara ho, dito po ang emergency exit." Kasi tinuro po sa amin, no, na kami po ay na dapat in times of emergency, hindi po tayo magpapanik. Ito po ang dapat nating gawin. Yun po ang sinabi ng RP Wood. Napakaganda po, no, na they are actually aware, no, and they are trained pagdating po sa mga ganitong circumstances. And of course, under component number 2, we will be providing livelihood and employment opportunities to the RP Woods. Dahil napaka-importante, sinasabi po ng mga literatures that livelihood, no, education, and the relationships are essential, no, pagdating po sa usapin ng social reintegration. So under component number 3, which focuses on family strengthening, we will conduct psychoeducation sessions on drug addiction management. Why are we going to conduct this, no? It is important to educate the family members what are the dynamics, ano ba ang pinagdadaanan, no, ng isang RP Wood, for them to be educated, no, for them to be able to acquire the skill kung paano papakitunguhan ng isang miyembro ng pamilya yung pinagdadaanan ng RP Wood. And of course, like what I have said a while ago, sa usapin ng addiction, may mga nasisirang mga relationships. So under family strengthening as a component, we will be implementing family relationship restoration activities. And lastly, we will also provide alternative livelihood and employment opportunities to the family members of the RP Woods who are eligible, no, and who are assessed to be in need of such services. And under the last component, community support, magkakaroon din po tayo ng psychoeducation sessions on addiction management. Why is it important? Like in the family, we will make them realize anong pinagdadaanan ng isang RP Wood. Same as true in the community for us to be able to free, no, the community from stigma, no, and discrimination pagdating po sa mga RP Woods. We will also conduct reconciliation meetings and sessions in the community. And of course, we will also create venues for community service of the RP Woods in their respective communities. What are the pre-implementation phase? Ano po dapat ang mga activities na gagawin natin bago natin i-implement ang program? Well, presentation of the YAKAP BAYAN to the LGUs, implementing partners and beneficiaries. Ginagawa na po natin ito ngayon, no? And like what I have said kanina, sana maging avenue po ito for your PLGUs, no, to actually replicate the program. Orientation of the provincial, municipal, city, and barangay ADACs on resource allocation and maximizing existing resources. Now, through mapping, we need to map out what are the existing resources, no, na pwede ho nating itap within the LGU, no, within the CSOs na present sa ating mga localities, no, for furthering the interventions for the RP Woods. Development of community registry for inhabitants and profiling of RP Woods. Ginagawa na po ito ng mga barangay for drug clearing operations. And of course, work and financial planning. We will also form LGU treatment and reintegration team who plays crucial role, no, in the management of RP Woods. Trainings of PADACs, MADACs, and the BADACs, and of course the MDT service providers on YAKAP BAYAN program management. No, we will equip them. We will build their capacities, no, on the subjects of addiction and recovery management, relapse prevention, trigger and anger management, peer coaching, life skills, psychoeducation and group sessions, and disaster risk reduction, working with families of RP Woods and community mobilization and support. Because no, the PADACs, MADACs, and BADACs and the NDTs are the ones who will be providing this to the clients. Planning workshop on barangay anti-drug plan of action is also one of the pre-implementation activities. And ito din po ang gagawin po natin for pre-implementation activities. We will cascade sessions, no, to the lower ADACs, down to the barangay anti-drug abuse councils. And of course, we will designate BADAC in charge of reintegration, operationalization of the barangay rehabilitation and referral desk, no? Hindi lang ho dapat natin magde-designate, hindi lang ho tayo mag-put up ng BDRRD, no, sa mga barangays, but we will also operationalize them. We will make them functional and of course responsive to the needs of the RP Woods in the barangay level. Orient with sectoral social civic groups, faith-based organizations, and employers associations, no? These are actually the prospective partners, no, within the locality, no, in the implementation of the program. Regular meeting with the stakeholders in the community and formation of community volunteers. Who are the key actors in the LGU level? So let's start. Sino po kaya? Any wild guess? Anyone? May prize po ito. Sino po ang napaka-importante na dapat key actors sa pag-i-implement po ng YAKAP BAYAN program? Very good. Tama po si ma'am, no? The local chief executive is the prime mover of the program because the LCE, si governor, no, si mayor, or si barangay chairperson will enact local resolutions in support of the implementation and sustainability of the program, no, providing funds for the program institutionalization. Hindi lang dapat matatapos, no, sa pag-enact ng local resolution, but of course, the local government will appropriate funds, no? Because I remember in my community development class, they always say that without budget, no, hindi natin ma-achieve yung desired outcome ng isang programa because the funds will serve as the bloodline ng bawat programa po natin. And the local chief executive will also include the implementation of the program in the annual investment plan of the LGU. And kaakibat din po na dapat si governor, si mayor, o kaya si barangay chairperson will champion the YAKAP BAYAN program. Dapat supportive ang ating LCE. Di ba po? Nag-agree po ba kayo sa akin? No? Dapat supportive ang ating LCE sa mga programa po ng PSWDO. Ayan, I can see some chats. Yes, agree. Opo. But it remains a challenge, no? Challenge sa atin kung hindi ho supportive yung atin pong mga LCEs, it's a challenge for us to actually influence them. Dahil ang atin pong mga LCEs, mag-e-exodus po yan ng 2022. Some of them, baka hindi na ho maluluklok ulit kasi nagpapalit po ng leadership. But it's our job, no, who are holding plantilla positions to influence them to become champions of our project. Especially no, sa mga programa po na patungkol sa social services. Tama po ba ako? Meron ho tayong compassion, and we should influence our governors, our mayors. And of course, the LCA will also establish and strengthen the local ADAC, attend preside local interagency meetings, no, in the implementation of the YAKAP Bayan program, integrate program activities and programs that promote, no, support RP Woods, their families, and communities. Ayan. The next stakeholder or key player in the implementation of the YAKAP Bayan program ay kayo po yun, no, mga members po ng ADAC. And what are actually the roles and functions of the ADACs, no, in the implementation of the program? Well, definitely you will be implementing the program in the locality according to the mandate of each member. Kung kayo po ay taga-LHO, dapat kayo po ay lead, no? Pagdating po sa usapin ng health. Pagdating po naman po sa mga taga LSWDO, sila po ang lead pagdating po sa aftercare at sa usapin po ng social services. Provides appropriate support and integrate intervention services to the PWOODs and their families, no? Participate in data collection and other MNE evidence building activities. Sa YAKAP Bayan po, we are currently in the process of developing the YAKAP Bayan Information System. Ito po ay isang information system or database that will help, no? That will aid the monitoring and evaluation of the YAKAP Bayan clients. And of course, the performance of the LGU pagdating po sa implementation ng program. Submit quarterly accomplishment report to the DILG Regional Office on the program implementation, provides TA to the lower ADACs, specifically yung mga BADACs po natin who are working in the grassroots, and allocate sufficient funds. Well, ito po, isa din po sa mga key players po natin is the Local Government Operations Office or yung ating pong LGOOs, no? Ano ho ang dapat gawin ng LGOOs? They will directly implement the program in partnership with concerned agencies. Sila po ang magi-establish ng partnership, no? Designate the permanent LGOO focal person who will provide support in the implementation of the program. I believe in all local government units, meron ho tayong LGOOs na naka-station, and designate secretariat of the ADAC. Hindi ho si Mayor ang magde-designate ng secretariat ng ADAC. It should be the LGOO. Pursuant to, no, issuance of the DILG. Well, the LGOO will also serve as resource persons to RP Woods, families, and communities to support social reintegration, submit quarterly accomplishment report to the DILG Regional Office, and of course, recommend governance reforms to support the social reintegration of the RP Woods. Well, importante din po, one of the key players are the BADAC, members of the BADAC, no? The BADAC will implement the programs in their barangays following their as prescribed mandates, no? Provides appropriate aftercare interventions or services to PWOODs and their families, submit quarterly accomplishment report to the ADAC, no, on the cases they have handled, participates in data collection and MNE, submit quarterly accomplishment report, and of course, kailangan po importante, they will be allocating sufficient funding support. Kung meron ho tayong BADAC, meron din ho tayong BADAC Auxiliary Team na ifo-form. Ano ho ang BADAC Auxiliary Team, no? They will serve as watch group for prevention, monitoring, and reporting of illegal drug activities in the barangay and case progress of drug surrenderers. The BADAC Auxiliary Team will also assist, no, the BADAC and the members of the Monitoring Volunteer Committee in monitoring of action plans, no, sa mga clients, and upon the return of the clients to to the community after treatment and rehabilitation. Well, ito po yung sinasabi po natin kanina na multidisciplinary team. So we have two, no? We have the LGU treatment team and the reintegration team. What are the roles and responsibilities of the LGU treatment team, no? Spearheads implementation of treatment plans for RP Woods in their barangay. Participate in data collection and other MNE evidence building activities, provide services to clients based on assessed needs, no? Napaka-importante po nito. Hindi porket po nasa menu of services ay ibibigay na po natin lahat iyon sa ating mga kliyente. Dapat palagi ho natin sinasabi sa social work, no? Ang pagbibigay po ng intervention ay dapat strengths-based or base ho sa pangangailangan po ni client. Like for example, I'll give you an example. Sinabi po natin kanina that the seawoods are also catered, no, in the YAKAP Bayan program. Ano nga ho ulit ang seawoods? Very good, napaka-engaging ng atin pong mga clients. At sinasabi po natin na isa sa mga menu of services po under aftercare is the provision of livelihood. Are we going to provide livelihood assistance to the seawoods? Definitely not, no? We will be providing interventions based on their assessed needs, no? Kung kailangan po ng seawoods na bumalik sa eskwela, yun po ang ating ibibigay na intervention. We will be referring the client, no, for alternative learning system or going back to school, no, as deemed appropriate. Conduct case conferences or consultation meetings and network meetings to thresh out issues, no, problems and concerns in the implementation of the program. Document good practices of the program, allocation of funds, and of course, submission of accomplishment reports. Well, the LGU reintegration team has the following roles and responsibilities. They will spearhead the implementation of aftercare services for PWOODs in their barangay, provides appropriate aftercare intervention or services to families, communities, and participates in the data collection and other MNE activities, evidence-building activities, and of course, the allocation of sufficient funds in the program implementation. Who are the members of reintegration team? Dito ho tayo magfo-focus, no? Kasi ang treatment team is led by the Department of Health and its local counterparts, no? Yung ating pong local health office. But in the reintegration team, ang lead po dito will be, sino po? Sino po ang lead? Mga social workers. Kaya dito po tayo magfo-focus. Sa atin po, sinasabi ng batas, sa atin po, tayo ang magpa-facilitate ng aftercare and reintegration. Sino po ang kasama ng social worker or ng LSWD o focal person? Of course, syempre, ang local health focal person because it's a continuum of care, no? During aftercare, we will reinforce yung mga natutunan ng clients during the treatment. Of course, kailangan din po natin ng assistance ng PNP. So they should be part of the reintegration team. And no, yung mga partners po natin from FBOs or faith-based organization and other civil society organizations will also be part of the reintegration team in providing services. And syempre, yung atin pong mga BADAC member in charge, no, in the locality. Alright, ito po ang kailangan po nating isaulo at isapuso, no? Ano ho ba ang role ng LSWDO pagdating po sa YAKAP Bayan program? Directly implement the program in partnership with the concerned agencies, no? Designate the permanent LSWDO social workers, no? Dahil sa YAKAP Bayan po dapat merong dedicated social worker who will serve as their case manager, no? Focal person who will implement the program, designate lead of the LGU reintegration team, provide services to clients, families, based on assessed needs, no? And conduct of case conferences. Ginagawa naman na po natin ito as LSWDO staff or officer. And submit quarterly and documentation reports. Faith-based organizations, no, and civil society organizations, and even POs, ano ho yung kanilang roles in the implementation of the YAKAP Bayan program? They will serve as a member of the LGU reintegration team, well, augment support to the program. Augmentation, kasi hindi po maibibigay lahat yan ng government. Palagi ho nating sinasabi, kulang po ang funds natin. And even in the national government, we also say that. Kaya kailangan po natin ng strong linkages, kailangan po natin ng networks, ng partnership with FBOs, CSOs, and POs, no, to implement our programs. Well, our faith-based organization will take charge in providing spiritual and counseling services, no, to uplift the minds and the hearts of the RP Woods. Not only the RP Woods, but also their families and significant others, no, in the service of God in coordination with the ADACs. Well, our partner FBOs, CSOs, and POs will also attend to the case conferences and meetings, no, as deemed necessary, and submit quarterly and documents good practices in the implementation of the program. Ang local PNP, no, may nagsulat po ng local PNP kanina. What are the roles of the PNP? Una po, serves as member of the LGU reintegration team, provides security services to RP Woods, their families, and significant others. Augment support to the program, to the clients and their families. No, attend case conferences, consultation meetings, and other meetings as deemed necessary. They will submit quarterly and documentation reports. Anyways, I would like to share a good experience nung nag-document po kami sa Ifugao, no? The PNPs are actually top, no, to provide personal development trainings. Biruin niyo po yung mga kapulisan po natin sa Ifugao, sila po ang naggugupit sa ating mga RP Woods. And it uplifts, no, yung relationship, no, yung moral ng mga PNP po natin and the RP Woods, of course, no? Sabi po ng isang RP Woods, "Sir, dati ang tingin ko po sa mga pulis, natatakot po ako. But now, no, through the interventions, through the help of the PNP, hindi pala sila kalaban, no? Kakampi pala natin." And of course, importante din po, key player din po natin sa implementation ng YAKAP Bayan program, yung ating pong mga local disaster risk and reduction management office. They will serve as a member of the LGU reintegration team. They will provide, no? Ito po ay napaka-importante. They will provide opportunities for RP Woods on disaster preparedness activities and opportunities for community volunteerism, no? In coordination with the barangay DRRM, and conduct case conferences, consultation meetings, and network meetings to thresh out issues, problems, and concerns of clients in the implementation of the program. Well, si LHO, no, is also part of the treatment team and the reintegration team. They will be the one to provide health services. They will also augment, no, resources, no, in the operationalization of the program. They will attend case conferences, consultation meetings, and other meetings as deemed necessary, and provides or submits quarterly accomplishment reports and documentation. Why is it important? Paulit-ulit po si Sir Kevin, no, sa accomplishment report and documentation. Dahil, no, pag hindi po yan naka-account or hindi po yan naka-document, hindi po yan nangyari. So, importante po yung ating reports and documentation. Well, the BADAC in charge of the reintegration team, no, kung mapapansin po natin, meron ho tayong BADAC in charge. They will serve as a member of the LGU reintegration team, provides a community preparation and reconciliation services to RP Woods and their families. They will also augment resources, attend to case conferences and meetings, and of course, submit quarterly and documentation reports in the implementation of the program. Other stakeholders no pwede ho nating itap in the program implementation. We have community leaders, no? I know meron ho tayong mga IP groups sa ating mga localities, and these are structures na hindi ho dapat natin ini-ignore, because sometimes mas pinapaniwalaan po ng mga nasa grassroots ang kanilang community leaders. In the IP groups, no, mas pinapaniwalaan po nila yung kanilang IP leader. So sila po yung pwede po nating i-involve, no, in the implementation of the program. The academe, kung meron ho tayong mga academe na, kung meron ho tayong mga prospective academe partners, no, na pwede hong itap. Sectoral representatives, faith-based organizations, employers associations, police personnel and other law enforcement groups present in the LGU, and former clients who are potential advocates and peer group coaches that could also be tapped, no, to be part of the program implementation. I think this is the last slide. Okay. Ako po ay may tanong po sa inyo ngayon before I conclude my session. What do you think is the most essential element na kailangan po natin if we work together, no? If we are working as an ADAC, as a structure? Meron hong price ito. Unity, okay, partnership. Well, clue, it starts with letter T. Commitment. All right, teamwork, no? Kailangan po natin ng teamwork. And before I conclude my lecture, I would like to share with you a good lesson which we can actually draw from the experience ng ating mga kaibigang ibon, no? Sabi po dito, if between friends and partners, we are geese, no? Tayo daw po ay mga ibon. And perhaps you wonder, why is it that the birds or the geese are forming a V formation every time that they fly? Napapansin niyo po ba yun? Yes, ayan. Ngayon malalaman po natin what is actually the reason why. Sabi po dito, the next season, when you see the geese migrating, going to a warmer place to sort the winter, pay attention that they fly in a V formation. Maybe you will be interested in knowing why they do it this way. By flying in a V formation, the whole flock increased the flight efficiency by 71% compared to just one bird flying alone. Ayun. What is the lesson, no? From this, sharing the same direction and working as a team get us to the destination quicker and easier. By helping ourselves, the accomplishment are better. When a goose leaves the formation, what will happen? He feels the resistance of the air and the difficulties of flying alone. Then, he quickly comes back to the formation to take advantage of the flock's power in front of him. What lesson can we draw from this? By staying in tune and united beside those who are going in the same direction, the effort will be less. It will be easier and pleasing to reach the goals. Everyone will be inclined to accept and give help. When the leader goose gets tired of flying, yung kanila pong leader, he goes to the end of the V formation while another goose takes the lead. What lesson can we draw? To share the leadership, there must be mutual respect between us all the time. Sharing the hardest problems and tasks, gather our abilities and combining our faculties, talents, and resources. The geese flying in a V formation, they quack, no? To encourage to the ones in front of them. Sila po ay nagquack, hindi po ba? In that way, they keep the same speed, no? What lesson can we draw? When there is courage and encouragement, the progress is greater. A timely word of encouragement always motivates, helps, and strengthens, and it produces the best of benefits. When a goose gets sick, is injured, or gets tired, no, and he must leave the formation, what will happen? Other geese leaves the formation too, and they fly with him and help him and protect him. They remain with him until he dies or is able to fly again. They reach their VV or they just make another V formation. Lesson 5. Let us stay beside each other no matter what the differences, especially in times of difficulties and great challenges. If we bond together and support each other, if we make through the spirit of teamwork, regardless of our differences, no, we can rise to meet our challenges. If we are aware of the feeling of sharing, life will be easier and the passing of years more fulfilling. My friends, let us and partners, let us be like the geese. Ayan. So, we are very excited, no? Because you will be training, no, the different LGUs or the different MADACs in your respective localities. And we are looking forward as you will be replicating or implementing the YAKAP Bayan in your respective localities. With that, maraming salamat po. Good afternoon and let us enjoy the rest of our day.
DSWD, katuwang ang mga kapuspala.
Too much drugs can kill you. Ang pinagbabawal na gamot ay nakasasama sa kabataan dahil sa panganib ang dulot nito. Ang paggamit ng droga ng mga kabataan ay maaaring magdulot ng iba't ibang problema, tulad ng problema sa eskwela, problema sa pera, problema sa kalusugan, pagkabaliw, pagkasira ng isipan at pagkamatay. Dahil sa paglaganap ng droga sa ating bansa, maraming kabataan ang mga nasasangkot sa mga krimen at maraming mga inosenteng nadadamay at namamatay dahil sa bawal na gamot.
Maraming ahensya ang tumutulong para wakasan ang paghihirap ng kabataan sa ating bansa at ang masamang dulot ng bawal na gamot. Hinihikayat ko ang mga kapwa ko kabataan na huwag gumamit ng pinagbabawal na gamot sapagkat sa bisyo na ito ay walang magandang maidudulot sa ating buhay. Yes to hugs, no to drugs.
Droga ay iwasan, pusher ay labanan, ipunin ang grasya, huwag ang droga. Kabataan, huwag tayong magpapadala sa tuksol dahil walang magandang maidudulot sa atin. Ipakita natin sa ating bansa na nagsisilbing ang kabataan ang pag-asa ng ating bayan.